Money is a tool. Financial literacy is a skill you can learn. My name is Dave Gallegos. I've spent the last 25 years in the mortgage industry with a front row seat to American financial habits. And what I have to offer is so much more than about mortgages. So join me for a journey into financial literacy, brought to you by me and Zenith Home Loans. I'm your host, Dave Gallegos. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of More Than Mortgage. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dave Gallegos. I'm the president of Zenith Home Loans and the host of this podcast. I started this podcast because I have a passion for helping people with their personal finances. Nobody helped me, which caused a lot of issues. And so I hope that I can impart some of the wisdom. I've been in the mortgage business for 30 years and not quite 30 years, but we're getting close. And during that time, I've had a front row seat to the way consumers, American consumers, manage their finances. And I've learned a lot, and it helped me with my finances greatly because it was kind of a shocking wake-up call for just the kinds of things that people do that hurt themselves. And my goal is to give everybody the benefit of the insights that I've learned. And I know that all of us are capable of creating financial balance and in the areas and the key areas. And I think those 5 key areas are credit, spending, debt, saving, and investing. And that's the path that you want to be on. And I talk about credit first in that goal, in that realm, because having bad credit makes everything more expensive and everything tougher in your life. So everybody can have a great credit score if you decide that that's what you want to do. You should all want the best credit score that you can get. Then attacking your spending, how you spend your money. And I always encourage people to track your spending. As soon as you start tracking it, you'll get better at managing it. And then you can attack your debt. Your debt is the next thing that has to go away. You have to have no consumer debt, or as little consumer debt as possible. Really should eliminate it. You shouldn't have a car payment. You shouldn't have credit card bills. You shouldn't have any consumer finance issues that you're financing something, because you're just going to pay incredibly high interest rates, and it will destroy your opportunity to build financial peace for yourself. Then you can focus on savings, and then you can focus on investing. And so that's what I talk about in this podcast. Today's episode, this isn't going to be a long one, but today's episode, I'm going to focus on something that is becoming a bit of a hot topic, and it is the buy now, pay later. I'm going to use the word scheme because it's just another tool that people who want your money and want you to buy their stuff, it's just another scheme that they've come up with to get you to do more of that now. There are instances where using a buy now, pay later platform doesn't come with any extra interest or expenses or fees, but you better be careful, because that's exactly what's going on. And I was in my office the other day and was talking to one of my loan officers, Ryan, and we were talking about buy now, pay later. And so we Googled it just to see, because I found out that you can do buy now, pay later for your groceries, which makes like no sense to me at all, except I guess there might be some instances where, if you're just in a situation where you don't have money for groceries for your family and okay, I get it, but you got to do everything you can not to put yourself in that position. And here's why. We Googled this and we found it on the fine print in Walmart grocery stores, is that they call it ZIP, and ZIP can only be used for US purchases. And they have a 31.11% annual percentage interest rate on using their buy now, pay later system. Now, I don't have all the details, so nobody has to reach out to me and tell me that I got this wrong. This was just the fine print on the Walmart website when it came to using buy now, pay later to buy things at Walmart. I would contend that no one should need to use buy now, pay later at Walmart or any grocery store for groceries. You shouldn't use this at all, right? Because all this is doing is buy now, pay later. It's like what killed us. It's what credit cards that are currently over $1.2 or $1.3 trillion, and that's crippling debt. And using buy now, pay later just means you can't afford what you're trying to buy right now. That's why it's called buy now, pay later. If you could afford it, you wouldn't use it. You certainly wouldn't opt in to pay 31%. The issue with buy now, pay later, and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is getting into the middle of this because right now it's completely unregulated industry. And that should scare the hell out of you, because I've been doing this for a really long time. When people aren't regulated, they'll take advantage of people as much as they possibly can. It's why the payday loan places have come under so much scrutiny over the years. There was no scrutiny, and so they were just killing people with the finance fees and the late fees and the charges and everything else. You borrow $1,000, you could pay, crazy amounts of money and interest on that. And that's the kind of thing that's just going to keep you broke. So 31% interest rate. I did some more research, and Consumer Reports was talking about loans that you use there's different companies out there like Affirm, Klarna, PayPal, and Cecil. I don't know where they come up with these names. You can actually borrow money and pay in full. They might carry interest rates, according to Consumer Reports, as high as 36.99, 37%. We're talking almost 40% interest, people. You can't be doing this. And then you get hit for late fees of $30 or more for a single missed payment. And you're talking about people borrowing a couple $1,000 and then paying, having a $30 late fee for having a late payment. $30 doesn't sound like much, but that's the thing. That's how they get you, by the way, is that, well, it's $30. It doesn't sound like much. It's like, well, it's not much, but as a percentage of the amount of money that you borrowed or whatever you did on the buy now, pay later, as a percentage of it, it's an insane number. And it's how they're getting rich at your expense and how you're going to stay poor at their benefit. So you got to avoid this. It says here that in 2021, 11% of the consumers who used buy now, pay later they got one that charged them interest. Some more information here. Taking a $2,500 loan with a longer term BNPL, that's buy now, pay later, an APR of 36.99%. If you paid that over 24 months, a borrower would end up paying $1,074 in interest on $2,500 loan. $1,000 in interest for a $2,500 loan. That is a crazy amount of money. That'll kill you. If you used a 24% interest rate credit card, it would be $672 in interest, which is still insanity, but not as high as 36.99%. That's the issue with this right now, is that these are not regulated. And the CFPB is going to come after these guys, and they're going to you'll start to see some regulations come about around the buy now, pay later industry. But what I really want to get everyone's attention on this, avoid these like the plague. If you can't pay now, then you can't afford it. It's that simple. That's it. I mean, the Consumer Report's like, well, if you can't pay it all at once, consider doing this, consider doing that. So I'm telling you that if you've got to get to that point in your life where you've cut back enough on all of your spending and your monthly expenses that you can set aside the money. I talked about this on the last episode. You have to be able to set aside enough money for an emergency fund. I would say $2,000 based on current levels of inflation and how much everything costs. Get a $2,000 cushion of an emergency fund so that you can not use credit to cover any emergencies that might come up. And then you attack your debt and you get rid of all of your non-mortgage debt as fast as humanly possible. I don't want to give you other options for using buy now, pay later, or using a credit card, because that debt's going to kill you. The day that when you get to that point in your life where you have no consumer debt, the only debt, if you have a mortgage, is on a house that's an appreciating asset, you're going to find, and then you can attack that too. So we'll talk about that down the road. You just don't want to be in a position where you're paying that kind of interest. The thing that's scary about the buy now, pay later is that people don't grasp what it is and how much it's going to cost and what that percentage is, because they never show it to you in the percentages, or it's in such fine print that no one's ever going to read it. It's like you're just never going to read that fine print. So that's today's episode. I just wanted to get that word out to you. You cannot be using buy now, pay later. Avoid it like the plague, just like you should avoid using a credit card to finance your lifestyle. So that's it for today, everybody. This was episode 11. I know it was a short one and a quick one, but I hope it raises please share this with anybody that you know that might be using these services, because they're killer. And then, since I brought it up, please like and share this and give it a rating. I would really appreciate it, and share it with your friends, anybody that you know that could benefit. I hope this is just good common sense advice from somebody who's been watching the way consumers spend money for the last 25 plus years, almost 30. I hope you find it helpful. Thanks everyone, and have an awesome day.
Thank you for listening to More Than Mortgage with Dave Gallegos, brought to you by Zenith Home Loans. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe anywhere you find podcasts and share this episode with a colleague who would also find value.